What's up, everybody? So today we're going to be breaking in the new apartment by creating some mead. This will be the first batch in the new place. I'm very excited, and I figure, being a Skyrim fan, what better way to break in the new place than by brewing some blackberry mead. I've already got my blackberries crushed up, so we're going to skip past that part, but I'm going to take you step by step through the process in making blackberry mead based off the recipe out of the cookbook. I believe it's the exact from the cookbook. I'm going based off of one I found on Reddit because I personally am doing a whole gallon. The book gives you the recipe for a half gallon. So let's begin. First off, you're going to need all of your items all together ready to go. So I've got my honey, got my cinnamon, got the Camden tablets, which will help keep bacteria from forming in your mead, some fermento, which will help to feed the yeast. Got our cinnamon. There we go. Got our rose hips. Some spring water. You can use tap water, but from what I've been reading, the spring water will give you a better taste than tap water. Oh, we're actually missing something. You're also going to want cloves, ground. And I'm going to finish it all off with our Lalvin EC1118 yeast. And this is what's going to be what's converting the honey into alcohol. This is one of the crucial parts, and I like to get this started before I start everything else because it does have to sit for a little bit. So it says here on this particular yeast, always consult your packet. But on this one, it's saying that we need water between 95 to 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to get some warm water, almost hot, nothing too crazy, and get that mixed up, and we have to let it sit for 20 minutes. And that allows it to rehydrate and activate. I got my water, got my yeast, everything's been sanitized. I use Star San for all my sanitation needs. So if you're getting into making mead at home, definitely look into this. You need to sanitize everything, or you could be creating bacteria in your mead that could be harmful to your health. Got that added in. Throw that packet in the trash. Alright, we've got that all mixed up. Now to leave it to sit for 20 minutes. We're going to move on to the next step while this rehydrates. Alright, so next up, going to grab our pot, break out our spring water. This step is going to make life a lot easier for us. I've tried it the other way, where you use cold water and you try to mix it with the honey. It takes forever, it takes a lot of vigorous shaking. It's just no fun. So we're going to get this added into the pot. Now, my pot is not as big as I thought it was, so we're going to get this heated up, and we're not going to be able to add as much honey, so we're going to add a little bit of it, and then we're going to pour the rest of our honey directly into our carboy, and then add the water, and that heated water should help to melt everything down and make it a little bit easier to mix in. Alright, now our water is nice and hot. We got it boiling. So what we're going to do, there it is, we're going to grab our honey. Now for this recipe, turn off that heat now. For this recipe in particular, it calls for 3 pounds. So we've got 3 right there. I like my mead a little on the sweeter side, so I am going to do about a half a pound extra just to allow it to bring out that sweetness that I like. I like a more dessert wine as opposed to a dry wine. And from the last few batches that I have made, they tend to err on the sweeter or on the drier side, except my traditional where I overcompensated, put a little bit extra in, and it came out perfect. So we're going to keep rolling with that. Now we're going to add our honey into the hot water. We'll see how much we can fit in there. We're probably going to call it there, so about half, so about 1.5 pounds there. Want to leave some room at the top because you are going to have to mix, and we don't want it sloshing everywhere. It is right at the danger level, ready to overflow. Lots of fun. Personally, I'm not the greatest at pouring, so I'm going to try and pour all of it, or the majority of it, into here before transferring it into the carboy, and then we will add the rest of our honey in. So I want that nice little spout there to help me guide everything to where it belongs instead of all over my kitchen floor. So if it's all over the kitchen floor, that's how you get ants. Ooh. See, that's exactly what I was afraid of. I spilled just a little bit. So we're going to do this in sections. Got my freshly sanitized carboy. Funnel has also been sanitized. You can never be too safe. Now we got our second bowl all full and ready to go. But before we do that, I'm going to do myself a favor and get this poured in now. And that hot water should help pull everything out of the funnel after we're done too. And if you just heard that timer beep, we're about 50 seconds away from our yeast being rehydrated and ready to go for us to add into this. So we are right on time. Now we're running out of time here, so I'm going to finish pouring this into here, and I'll catch all of you in part 2 of this video. And welcome back. We ran out of time there on the end of the video, but we are still adding in our honey into this carboy. Almost done with this first one. We got our hot water here, so it's going to help us to get all this broken down, and we'll mix it up. So as you can see, we've got our carboy almost filled all the way up. Want to leave a little bit of space there because when we add our blackberries, our spices, our cinnamon sticks, all that jazz, it is going to raise that level. And if you have it too high up, it could start foaming up through your airlock, which you're going to put on at the end of this. Right now, we are going to get everything compiled. Alright, so this recipe that I have is calling for, this is for 1 gallon, 12 ounces of crushed blackberries, 4 tablespoons of dried rose hips, 1 teaspoon of ground cloves, 2 cinnamon sticks, and 2 dashes of salt. So I've got my salt mixed into my pectic enzyme, which I'm personally choosing to use. It'll help break down the tannins of the fruit, and it's also going to help to keep that mead nice and clear. And I've got a Camden tablet in there as well. You use 1 tablet per gallon, crush it up into a powder, and you pour it in with your must, which is what our water and yeast mixture is called. So we're going to go ahead and get that added in based off this recipe, and we'll be in business. I'm going to start with the spices first, starting up with the cloves. So this is 1 teaspoon. Try to level it off a little bit. Cloves down the hatch. Next up, we have our rose hips. Now I had to go hunting for these rose hips. We had a local tea shop, so anywhere that you can find like tea herbs near you, they're probably going to be your best bet. I also tried a metaphysical shop today, and they just didn't have any on hand, so look around. It may be hard to find. They do have it on Amazon, but it's always cool to support local businesses. So we're going to, I can't find the tablespoon, so I'm going to use the half tablespoon one. So we're going to have 8 scoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what? We're just going to have a little bit extra because that is not even a tablespoon or a half tablespoon in there. It smells really good. Now we're going to add in 2 cinnamon sticks. I found these in the ethnic aisle with all the like the dried chilies. I thought these looked better than the ones on the shelf in the baking aisle. So whatever you pick, as long as it's a cinnamon stick, you're solid. Hopefully this will work with us. We may have to get a spoon. Ooh. Getting a little messy. There. Okay. Yeah, that's not going to work as well as I'd hoped. So we're just going to have to try to squeeze these in there with, we'll just use a spoon and spoon it in. We've got juice going down the sides. Now if I understand it correctly, the reason that you spoon it is so that, or the reason that you crush it is to get more juice out of there. Alright, now that we've got everything in, it did raise the level just a little bit. I had to pour a little bit out just because I did not account for enough space. But now comes the most important ingredient, your must. Whew. We cut that one close, didn't we? And then that pectic enzyme and Camden tablets and salt that I've got mixed up here, we'll get that thrown in. We've got it all in there, sitting at the top. Now, got to give it a good old shake. Get everything all mixed together and introduced. Preferably without making a mess. Always put a lid on there. Don't just try to use your hands. I learned that the hard way. Alright. And with that complete, we'll move on to the next step. Moving on to the final step, you get your airlock. Stick that on there. And that's going to allow all the CO2 that's going to build up as it's fermenting to escape without getting anything into your meat. We're going to take this, store it somewhere secure, safe, and preferably in a consistent environment. Don't just put it in your garage if you live in an area where the temperatures fluctuate back and forth. And last but not least, if you're me, you've made a mess, clean up your kitchen and keep an eye on your mead. Every couple of days or every day you want to swirl it around a little bit to degas it, and tomorrow or 24 hours from now we'll add our fermento, our fermentation aid, and that'll help to keep it fermenting and turning all of that honey into alcohol. Hope everybody enjoyed. Try it along. Let me know how it goes for you, and if I missed something or did something wrong, please let me know. I am an amateur at this, just having a little bit of fun. Hey everybody, so got done with that Blackbriar mead. It was really, really good. I completely forgot to do a video where we got it from the the mix that we had into a separate container, because you do separate it from all of the spices and the rose hips we added in. So I did transfer that into a second carboy a little bit down the road after fermentation had stopped, and we went from there to letting it separate, get all the remaining must out, and we came to this. This is all that's left. It came out so delicious. For a little bit, like when I moved it into secondary, it was like jet fuel. It had some bite, but we got this remaining. We drank a lot of it, and this probably isn't going to last very long. I do intend to do a 6-gallon brew here at some point, but I reused a Crown Royal bottle. I've got about 15 bottles to use, so when I do the 6-gallon, I'm just going to bottle them all then. But yeah, it came out really good. It did require a little back sweetening, so you do need something called potassium sorbate. I think I said that right. But you'll throw that in, and what that does is it'll stop the fermentation process. So any remaining yeast in your mead, if you don't add this, it'll start fermenting the new honey you put in, which you don't want. You're just trying to sweeten it, not make it more potent. So added some of that, and as you can see, it came out really clear. It was looking a little murky before, but now it is really clear. It tastes delicious. Very strong on the clove flavor though. I don't taste as much blackberry. The blackberry probably would come through if I was good about letting things age, but I like drinking my mead pretty much as soon as it's ready. So, you know, you live and you learn, and you do what you can. But yeah, I think it came out delicious. I love this recipe, and clearly I like it because I'm going to make 6 gallons of it next. If you've got any friends that are really into Skyrim, I think this would make an awesome homemade gift. Just get some bottles off Amazon and make it. It took, gosh, I think we were about a month and a half into this. It did not take long. It is a quick fermenting drink, so try it out. Hope you guys enjoyed.